If you have played any combat character in GURPS, be it a medieval knight or a space commando, you undoubtedly wanted to get some extra DR by wearing armor over other armor. After all, that's how it often worked historically, and the game supports that. However, the rules for layering armor can be confusing in some places, so let's quickly go over them. The most basic version of them appears on page 286 of GURPS Basic Set. They say that you can layer armor that protects the same hit locations, but only if the inner layer is both flexible and concealable. The DR is simply added, but wearing an extra layer of armor anywhere but on the head gives -1 to dexterity and dexterity-based skills. What's important here is the word concealable. Not every flexible armor can support another layer of rigid armor. For example, many Ultratech spacesuits are flexible, but you cannot wear a rigid clamshell armor over one. GURPS Low-Tech reworks the armor concealment rules and suggests omitting the need for inner layers to be concealable. But it still must be flexible. It also says that you can wear more than 2 layers, and each additional layer imposes an additional -1 penalty to dexterity. Only the outer layer can be rigid, however. The book also says that the penalty for layering armor applies not to the general dexterity, but only to actions performed with the affected body part. So, as usual, if you have layered armor on the torso, then all your actions are affected. If you have layered armor on the legs, then only actions that involve the legs are affected. Low-Tech armor also clarifies the interaction with partial armor. Now, the dexterity penalties for layering armor do not apply if the total odds of partial armor protecting a hit location are 3 in 6 or less, or for armor that covers only the head, just like in the basic set. So now, for example, you can wear flexible mail armor on your legs, then attach rigid plate armor to your thighs. They have a 2 in 6 chance of protecting the legs, and knees, they have a 1 in 6 chance of protecting the legs. Since partial armor gives the total odds of protecting your legs of 3 in 6, you do not suffer any layering penalty in this case. That's great, isn't it? As for covering the head, there is another rule exception here. If you have a great helm, which is a type of a rigid armor, then you can wear another rigid helm under it with no penalties. However, I have encountered an edge case in one of my games. What about the groin? One of my characters wore a plate codpiece over leather leg armor, and it was unclear if layering penalties should have been applied there. On one hand, the groin seems to be part of the torso hit location judged by the location table in GURPS Low-Tech, but there are no odds given here, as it can only be targeted deliberately. GURPS Low-Tech instant armor, however, makes groin a sublocation of the abdomen sublocation that is in turn a sublocation of the torso hit location. Wow! But at least now we know that if you attack the abdomen, then you have a 1 in 6 chance of hitting the groin. And that means that groin armor does not impose a penalty to dexterity due to layering armor. Case closed. Low-Tech instant armor also clarifies the rules for using the optional blunt trauma and edged weapons and damage to armor rules with layered armor. Finally, there is another way of neutralizing the dexterity penalty. GURPS Power-Ups 2 Perks has a suit familiarity perk that removes the extra dexterity penalties for wearing bulky environment suits. GURPS Dungeon Fantasy 11 Power-Ups introduces a variant of this perk, Suit Familiarity Layered Armor, that removes -1 from the penalties from wearing layered armor. It isn't said in the book, but you probably can take more than one level of it if you are wearing more than 2 layers of armor. And that's it. I know that it's a short video, but I feel that this is an important topic for any game that features combat, be it low-tech, high-tech or ultra-tech. In any case, Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.